This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details. Fan.
Mall of America's mystery cards are back, and we're bringing them to you all summer long. Come grab yours at KFAN events throughout the summer. Wherever you see our KFAN street team, that includes training camp. Then make sure to redeem them at Mall of America for fun prizes and big discounts. Full list of events at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
I have so many questions for today's program that I hope we can explore. We might have to go till 7 or 7:30, maybe 8 o'clock. We'll see how this goes. But I'm looking at a story right now that I assume you'd heard something about. I had not until today. So I don't know when this broke exactly. But it's a story of a player who used to play for the University of Memphis. And now I believe he's in the Big Ten. I think he has transferred to Purdue. And he is being accused of sending, as a member of the Memphis team playbook to an opponent. Here's the way this version is the New York Post. The Memphis football team appears to have had a mole. Taj Rael, a former player who has since transferred to Purdue, has been accused of sabotaging the Tigers by sending photos of their playbook to an opposing quarterback before a game last season. Instagram messages obtained by something called Tiger Sports Report.
Oh, yeah.
Allegedly show Rael, who exited the program in October, sending a picture of the Memphis playbook along with other information to UTSA quarterback Owen McCown before the teams clashed on November 2, 2024. And then there's a screen grab here in which he writes, here you go, that's all the signals. And then he gets from Owen McCown crying, laughing emoji, like 4 of those. And then again from Taj, far leftist coverages. I'll send you better lists showing you the call. No reroutes on the slot. The safety is the weakest link in the defense. His hamstring is hurting, but he's running out of eligibility. So when you play him, he's number 0. Now, going from there, I gave you some of the details with the laughing emojis. And for the record, by the way, UTSA, is it UTSA? USTA?
Yes, UTSA.
They defeated Memphis 44-36 with all that information. We're on the field and their offense has a check for every single one of our defenses checks. A member of the Tigers' 2024 team told Tiger Sport Report. A safety from Charlotte, North Carolina, Rael played 3 seasons at Old Dominion before his brief stint with the Tigers, during which he played 4 games and made 1 interception. He transferred from Memphis on October 9, so he was no longer with Memphis leading into that game, that showdown.
Okay.
The Tiger Sports Report is reporting that he'd been dismissed from the team during the season, which allegedly added incentive for his purported sabotage. Here's a quote from Purdue Athletics told On3 Sports Tom Dienhart, our coaching staff sees the scenario as being mischaracterized, and does not have any concerns moving forward. American Conference Commissioner Tim Pernetti commented on the incident as well, downplaying concerns about the allegations. I'm aware of the situation. I've had very open dialogue with the UTSA coach, Jeff Traylor, and the Memphis coach, Ryan Silverfield, about it. They're going to address it. There's really not much to the story. I think a lot of it has been sensationalized and is much ado about nothing. So you got maybe irresistible force, immovable object here, in that there are times where fan reports or team reports, they're hurting from a loss, and they want to explain away a loss on the basis of we're not really as bad as we played. Something else got in the way of it. Then again, I would say, I want to get your reaction, but I would say unless this stuff, these screenshots are made up, that this is pretty specific information that I would assume your guy, PJ Fleck, would prefer that one of his players not send to the opposition before a game.
No, you don't want this stuff out, for sure. I'm thinking, first of all, Gophers play Purdue homecoming this year, so I'm wondering if anybody knows this safety. Maybe we can help out a little bit. Send a couple of texts. Because obviously he's up for bid. He's up for sale.
Yes.
Because he was dismissed and he wasn't on the team anymore.
Right. Does that give him carte blanche to do what he did?
Is this any different than when a guard for the Jets gets released and signed by the Vikings for a week because we're playing the Patriots next week?
Yeah, I see your point.
Is that any different? Obviously, it's not great. I think it speaks to overall
it feels
character.
Sleazy.
Yeah, it speaks to the overall
much
character.
Specific, but
yeah. And you also
isn't the rule? That's the other thing. I thought if you get dismissed, I would think in 2025 you'd have actually security people would say, We gotta wipe your
taking your iPad
or whatever the case may be. Now again, that wouldn't stop him from saying some stuff or still tweeting some stuff, and or texting some stuff. You can't get in the way of that. And to your point, maybe that's the distinction here. I don't think it's a very good look if it's true, but maybe that's what we're talking about. Okay, you screwed me, you got rid of me. All right, that's all's fair game, man. I got you can't tell me I don't have this information. It's in my head.
Yep.
If I want to pass it along to an opponent, I can do that.
And these stories always hit me hard because, as you know, in the college football world, there is no greater paranoid group of people than a college football coach and a college football staff. And so anytime something like this happens, it just sets us back decades in terms of access and trust.
Yes. Are you saying that in general, college football coaches tend to shade it to the paranoid side anyway?
If you have a gun to my head, and I prefer you didn't, I would say yes. So this always hurts because they're always worried about something. This is pretty much every football coach. Also, missed opportunity by the fan. I didn't hear much of the grum today when quarterbacks coach Josh McCown joined the Common Man today
his brother,
on the perch. It's his kid, I think.
Oh, it's his kid?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's his son.
Okay.
The quarterback.
Yeah, the quarterback who received the message. The info. Yeah.
So it would have been nice to get Dad on the record.
Yeah.
What do you think of this?
Well, there's texters coming in saying maybe expounding on your point, NIL, all's fair in war, in love and war now. There's no... stop trying to get on your high horse on this. There's no such thing as there can be no more outrage on the basis of the way players can move. And guess what? Programs can add players on the move too, right? Because we're all in it. We're all in the cesspool together to varying degrees. Correct? It still doesn't. I like it just because it's juicy.
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting. It's because we hear rumors about stuff like this. This just seems very, very specific.
Yes, and spiteful.
And detailed.
And when it's spiteful like this, and we don't know the story, why he got kicked off the team, why he entered the portal, the whole deal. I don't know any of that, obviously. But you don't love when things when things happen because of spite or vengeance. It's not the greatest in the world. But I don't think it's a whole lot different than...
Yeah, you might be right.
You just, mining somebody for information. How many times do you see somebody get picked up for a week and then dropped?
Mm-hmm.
Just because they want to talk to them for half an hour about what the offensive system is. And most schools are changing stuff a lot, right? We heard that with the Michigan stuff, the sign stealing stuff. Well, everybody changes their signs. It's every week. It's really not that big a deal.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know. So...
Well,
it is juicy, though.
It's a good talking point subject to explore with Glenn Mason if we get another year of Glenn Mason. Not sure. Contract negotiations, my sources say, might get they might get tense this year. So, but if we have Mace back, I think it's a great scenario to run by him to get his own reaction to it. Now, again, as you say, he didn't coach in this era. He coached in a very, very different era, although there was a lot of bad stuff that went on then. But the NIL era and the idea of, players moving around to the degree that they moved around, it's very different. You could say it's very much apples and oranges, and I don't know if that means there's not any point in even pretending that there's a measure of morality involved. if, this will be this was third stop already or fourth, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think third.
And he might leave Purdue by the time the season starts. Who's to say? Sounds like it may be one of those guys who's just going to keep moving until he figures out exactly what he wants out of life. I'm not sure. Let's do this. Let's stay on schedule. Don't forget, Lavelle is going to join us at 5:30 tonight from Vegas. News on the march before we're done. We've got a couple of other controversies that I definitely want to spend a little bit of time on. I also want to know, have we yet, Safe Fair is right around the corner now, have we yet replaced the Steve Miller Band that canceled at the last minute, allegedly because of great fears about weather and climate and perhaps corn sweat? The only thing he didn't name in that press release was his fear of corn sweat. Meantime,
Fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. 4 o'clock keyword is bonus. Go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword bonus. Concert event of the year is coming to Minneapolis. Paul McCartney live at U.S. Bank Stadium Friday, October 17th. If you want to grab a pair of tickets, wow. Head to KFAN.com, keyword contest now, and enter to win. The Get Back Tour, one night, one legend. Don't miss out.
A number of our texters are wondering about whether so-called NDAs have to be signed these days, that players are required for this very reason, so that it doesn't necessarily prevent information from later being leaked, but then might leave some recourse for a team. I don't know if they feel it would be worth it to actually pursue them in a legal sense for going down this road. I don't know that.
But I bet this has them thinking about
Probably it. Does, yes.
If they hadn't, or maybe they've already thought of it, I don't know. Yeah, because they are, again, the most paranoid people in the world.
They are. They don't need any help in that regard. They just don't. They absolutely don't. And this is the sort of story that... Well, what's funny is everybody is trying to downplay it. When deep down, if it was happening to them, they would lose their minds. I would think, right? They would just say, "What? This is a transgression. You can't cross this particular line." And it is instructive that in this case, the team that got the new information, well, they scored a lot of points. What did I say? 44-36, something like that. I remember the final score, but I think they scored in the 40s as well. I don't know. Is this DB? I think it was a DB. Didn't I say? Defensive back? Yeah. Is he like front line? Is he going to be like a starter for Purdue?
I have no idea. Yeah. No, I just learned his name in reading this story.
By the way, this is apropos of nothing. News on the March coming up at about 4:30 or so. This question is apropos of nothing, but it's just, you get online and you read some things and you look at some stuff and you go, well, that's interesting. So who is the starting quarterback for the LA Chargers?
Justin
Herbert, well thought of in the league. He apparently, for practice sessions, is wearing red contact lenses.
Okay.
And he claims that the whole purpose of this is that he sneezes a lot outside, and when he sneezes, his eyes kind of get watery, and then he feels like he's got to squint too much. And the team went to him and said, well, how about you could try one of these, like we got one of these visors that could help you in terms of the filtering out some of the sun.
The Jim McMahon visor.
Exactly. Yeah. And he wasn't crazy about that. They said, well, how about we got red contact lenses you can wear? Which he says he's now wearing, and he no longer needs to squint. In effect, he says they're sunglasses.
That's great.
For the eyeballs. I guess I shouldn't be surprised, given how many different millions of contact lenses there are today, that there would be sunglass contact lenses. But I've never heard I've never heard anybody talk about this before. Have you? I'd never heard it.
No, you know why, though? We don't live in Los Angeles. We don't have any issues with the sun. Well, very rarely.
We have bright sun.
Sometimes.
Not as bright as Southern California?
Not as bright, and sometimes we've got Canadian wildfires that are hazing up the entire sun in the summer, and there's rainstorms.
Okay, go ahead. Blame. You want to be one of the Republicans blaming Canada again?
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Keep your wildfires out of here.
L.A., it makes sense
that
they would have had, I'm guessing, I can't believe they don't hand these out on your multiple trips to Hawaii. They don't just have them right by the pool that you can pop in. Say, if you have issues with the sun, especially those of you from the Midwest, pop in a couple of lenses.
I guess I am too. I would think, and maybe this is more routine than I think, but he says, hey, look, I don't squint.
It's genius.
You know who else needs to wear the red contact lenses? The Oklahoma City head men's basketball coach.
Oh, yeah. Dagno,
he squints all the time.
He does.
And it's not that bright in most of these arenas. By the way, you heard we're going to go to that soft, theater-ish, romantic.
I kind of like it.
Lighting look. Target Center as soon as this coming season, right? That's what they said. That's what they say.
That's what they wanted to.
I think it can get a little sleepy sometimes, though. They can look a little sleepy. Do you want to look sleepy?
Wait till Anthony Edwards takes it down the lane.
You think it matters?
Ain't nobody going to be sleeping. Did I tell you, by the way, I spoke with someone at length at the Taste for the Tour event on Monday who's been in the new super secret, like A-Rod and Mark Laurie club. Mm-hmm. You know how they added their own little owner's room there? And this individual said, I've gotten to know Tim Conley. I've gotten to know some people. I've been able to go in there, and it's pretty cool. I said, so you've been in the secret club? And the person said, yeah. I said, how is it in there? He goes, it's good. A lot of pictures of A-Rod in there. I'm like, okay. I guess that checks out.
An homage.
Yeah, I guess.
To how about Mark Laurie? Does he get any photos?
I don't know. That should have been my follow-up, I guess.
That's
but
pretty good.
It just cracked me up.
That's very funny.
That was the second thing this individual said. A lot of pictures of A-Rod in there.
A lot of questions coming in here. I sneeze every time the sun shines in my eyes, so I'm absolutely Team Herbert on this one. That's from Brother David. What was the line for that game? He's talking about the Memphis UTSA game.
Yeah, we'll have to ask.
And
Pierre Nugent might know it.
It's probably a fair question, because then that does get into, is there the potential for another element to the story, right? That goes beyond, I'm just going to screw with my team that got rid of me. And now there's nothing in the story to indicate there's anything financial, but let's face it. I don't begrudge the question. That's what we're in 2025. We've got too many gambling scandal investigations out there right now and stories to sneeze, no pun intended, at that possibility here. So we'll try to find out. The daughter of a friend of mine has an apartment that overlooks the training field for Alabama.
Yep.
She had to sign a 6-page document stating who can and cannot be in the apartment at specific times, i.e., during practice.
It's crazy.
Think about it.
Insane.
What's her own life? She can't decide who she wants to have in her apartment?
I guess not if you want to live there. Now in Tuscaloosa.
What if it just happens to be an Auburn assistant coach
that she befriended somehow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or an Auburn player.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
It's insane behavior. Remember Lincoln Riley got mad when the student reporters, I think, was it Oklahoma or USC? I can't remember which stop, when they looked over practice and reported on something. These people are nuts, but they'll say, look at Connor Stallions. I mean, they'll say, again, just
where is he now? Where is he surfaced? What program is he with now?
I thought he was with a high school.
That might be right, yeah.
I thought he was with a high school, but he didn't do anything, if you ask Jim Harbaugh.
The suggestion's also been made that if you recruit a player capable of this kind of behavior, then you have to be more selective in who you bring into a program.
Wow, that's a little Pollyanna.
I'm just saying.
I mean, not everyone's going to be 100 out of 100 on character all the time.
You don't think so?
That sounds great.
How are contract negotiations going with Gerby? I think they're fine. I don't think we have any concerns with Gerby moving forward.
No.
And I don't want to cause a 4-alarm fire on Mace. I'm just saying what I've learned over the years is nothing is official until it's official. And
we like to build the drama.
Some years get more challenging than others when it comes to reaching even close to the financial terms that Mason demands. So I don't think that's yet been settled.
Well, we've got a month.
We do have some time, don't we? Well, it's less than a month now, isn't it?
First game,
Well, that's true. It's
First game was a month from yesterday, I think.
Month from yesterday. You're right about that. Very true. Dan, do playbooks get modified if there are personnel that leave rosters? That's a fair question, I guess. I don't know how much modification you can do about a whole playbook.
No, but you might just change signals or checks or what you call
things.
Do
that,
I'm sure that happens all the time.
Yeah, there's probably something to that. That's I have to believe there's some checks and balances to it. If you wear red contact, and why do they have to be red contact lenses?
Must have something to do with blocking the sun.
Must be the sun, yeah. Because I'm actually intrigued by that. The problem, though, is then what's your vision like when you go inside? How dark is it?
Right.
Because then, okay, I got to take those lenses out. I got to put my other contact lenses on or put my glasses on. That could get kind of complicated.
You need the transition lenses.
That's it. I was going to say, I bet you, and you would think, if you're Justin Herbert, you're not going to take entry-level sunglass lenses, right? You're getting probably state-of-the-art.
You can find them.
Which may well mean, as you say, that they change depending on how much light is out there. So red contact lenses, let me know. I'm very, very confused about that, but fascinated nevertheless. News on the March is coming up. Lots to get to between now and the top 5 at 5. Lavelle is scheduled to join us at 5:30 this afternoon. You can also hit the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line, as many of you are. Stay- 612 guy asks, who will sign first? Kirill, Mace, or Gerby? I think the order is going to be Gerby 1, Mace 2, and Kaprizov not at all.
Are you nuts?
Is that too negative?
It's ominous.
It is ominous, yeah. Well, I won't say not at all necessarily, but I will say I bet you Kirill's third. I think there's a good chance to believe that Gerby and Mace will both be signed to contract extensions before Kaprizov is.
Well, for our show, I hope that's true.
Yeah, selfishly speaking.
Yeah, we'd like to get both of them.
Yeah, but I'm the hockey ambassador, too, so I'm supposed to be rooting heavily for the Kaprizov extension, so I'm kind of torn. I'm kind of in a tough spot there. Bumper to Bumper is the name of the show. Lavelle will join us from Vegas at 5:30 this evening, where he hung with Guardsy earlier in the week. Top 5 at 5 is yet to come as well. But first...
You on the march!
Item number 1. U.S. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche has concluded his interview with Ghislaine Maxwell after a second day of talks about her involvement in Jeffrey Epstein's years of sex crimes. Here's the quote from Maxwell's attorney, David Oscar Marcus, outside the federal courthouse in Tallahassee, Florida. Ghislaine answered every single question asked of her over the last day and a half. She answered those questions honestly, truthfully, and to the best of her ability. She never invoked a privilege. She never refused to answer a question. She didn't get a fair trial. We're still appealing to the Supreme Court. Remember, people have questioned her honesty, which I think is just wrong. We don't know how it's going to play out. The truth will come out about what happened with Mr. Epstein. Discussing next steps, I should say, Marcus said no offers have been made to Maxwell, but he weighed in on the possibility of the president pardoning his client. We haven't spoken to the president or anybody about a pardon just yet. The president this morning said he had the power to do so.
He does.
We hope he exercises that power in the right and just way. And as you say, sure enough, when speaking to reporters outside the White House Friday, Trump did not rule out a pardon or clemency for Maxwell. It's something I haven't thought about. I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not thought about. Second day of talks came the same week a congressional committee voted to subpoena Maxwell to provide additional testimony about Epstein's crimes, and it's the first time she's met with federal officials in what her attorney calls a very productive day. one pithy observation from the World Wide Web that I can't stop thinking about, related to this bit of news. Clear your mind of all the daily churn of news and the personalities involved. Focus on just a president sending his former personal lawyer to secretly question an old friend in federal prison that might publicly accuse him of felonies. That alone is a historic scandal. I guess that's this person's way of saying, not sure we're going to necessarily get to the bottom of whatever Trump's connection might be to the scandal and to Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein, etc. And it is a good example of what he brings up. I'm not even sure it's news, because it feels like, well, it's more of the same. Something that in a different political lifetime would be, well, you can't, that's not the person you can send. This is his attorney. Are you out of your mind? How is any air going to be cleared, or how are you going to get any real definitive information to pursue this story or move it forward? If it's somebody's former personal attorney who's asking the questions, might that have some impact on the kinds of questions he might ask?
Right.
Now, there's also several media reports saying that she named upwards of 100 different people. But again, named them what? At parties? Went to the island? Actually, because I have felt all along on Maxwell, if she had something, the assumption has been, way back, this was during her trial, and when, she's maybe even hoping for some kind of a plea bargain, etc., was that if she had anything that might mitigate her punishment, she already would have played those cards, would she not have? Logically speaking, you think. Now, there may be a lot of other things to think about, but I think that's, if you think about this logically, so was she, that's when, if she knew all this stuff, she would have used that to try to get her in a better position, bargaining position, in terms of spending less or maybe even no time in prison.
Right. But
correct?
She was also obviously extremely loyal to Epstein.
Yeah.
And at one point, he was going to go on trial, right, before
correct.
He killed himself in jail.
That's
and so
true.
maybe they were going down together, or maybe she didn't feel like she could sing because you're right. You're 100% right. If she had a bunch of stuff, it would have been in her best interest,
no question,
to bring that out.
Now, the comeback to that is, what if she'd done that? She'd be dead. She'd also be dead. That's the conspiracy theory retort. I meant to ask, we had Gerald Posner on early in the week, and he had said to us he was still pursuing a foreign government having some form of a list.
Yep.
But he hadn't been able to confirm it. So he hasn't gone with it, and I forgot to get an update on where he is on that particular story. Item number 2, news on the march. For years, scammers have, this is, by the way, Dateline, the state of California. Scammers have targeted community colleges across the state, posing as students in order to steal money from scholarships or government financial aid. Recent reports suggest the problem is getting worse, and college leaders say they're worried that the Trump administration's cuts to the U.S. Department of Education could hamper fraud prevention and investigations. In 2021, the California Community College's Chancellor's Office reported that about 20% of college applicants were likely fake. By January 2024, the state said it was up to about 25%. Now, it's about 34%, according to the most recent data from the last calendar year. Those are the ones, all the ones that are stopped, said John Hetz, Executive Vice Chancellor for the data team at the Chancellor's Office. Scammers that aren't stopped have stolen millions in taxpayer dollars. Cal Matters reports that these fake students received more than $5 million from the federal government and nearly $1.5 million from the state. Faculty say they're exasperated from working as detectives trying to suss out which students are real. They say scammers are increasingly relying on artificial intelligence to infiltrate classes using tools like ChatGPT to pose as students. Students say these fraudsters are taking coveted seats and preventing them from enrolling in classes that they need to graduate. And in the last 12 months, colleges reported giving more than $10 million in federal dollars to fake students and over $3 million in state money.
And with that, I need to go. I do
Now,
appreciate your call, though. Thank you.
I know
so
what
much.
you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. You're going, well, is there a local angle on this story? And, of course, the answer in the land of 10,000 fraud cases is yes. We're always represented. This is a Star-Tribune story from really earlier this summer. Actually, this goes all the way back to late April that I've been saving for a day like this. And it goes through the same thing. Here's the lead. The instructor thought something was off when she looked at her online class registration. She was right. Students weren't real people at all. Instead, they were scammers using stolen names to try to access financial aid money in what was among Minnesota State's first known cases of so-called ghost students, a new type of enrollment fraud colleges across the country are facing. Officials from Minnesota State are now warning community and technical colleges to look out for ghost students who can pocket hundreds or thousands in financial aid dollars before schools figure out they're not real students. Joe Haker is quoted in this piece, a history instructor at Century College in White Bear Lake. In 2023, he found out that 15% of his students were basically an organized crime ring. Problem has worsened from there. Some are local, the fraudsters, but most live in other countries. They enroll in online asynchronous classes, primarily at 2-year colleges with no intent of learning or earning a degree. They try to make it through the early days of a course without being found out. They do the bare minimum in classroom work until financial aid money is dispersed, usually about 10 days into the semester. We know that if these people are still enrolled by the second week, they'll get their money. The school is on the hook. Taxpayers on the hook. Whoever has had their identity stolen is also on the hook. I guess we shouldn't be surprised.
No.
There's scammers on everything.
When
this
there's
is
money.
just a particular kind of scandal that I was not all that familiar with.
Especially because it can't be for a lot of these grants and scholarships at these schools. And as you know, I've been to 5.
Yes.
And I've looked into financial
How many
aid at a lot of
scholarships
them.
do you have?
I had none, stole none, although ghost student.
How did you not have any with your tennis act?
Well, tennis I had
Oh, you had-
scholarship.
okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
yeah. I don't even think of that
Okay.
one. I just on this
You
stuff
meant-
where
yes.
you have to apply
Right.
and there's grants and things like that. And ghost student would be a good way to describe me at least 2 or 3 or maybe all of the colleges that I went to, but it's not. It seems like a lot of work to get not a ton of money at all these places.
No. And again, you could say, well, look at this is, I mean, even by the tradition now established in the land of 10,000 fraud cases, this is nickel and dime
Yes.
money compared to the billions, well, I shouldn't say billions, 250. What's the latest number on Feeding Our Future? 250
I think so. Million, yeah.
million. And then, but by the way, there are predictions that when we aggregate all these fraud cases that U.S. attorneys has been investigating, that we might approach $1 billion,
Yeah.
which is really helpful.
Between that and the homeless one,
Exactly.
there's a lot of them.
This one isn't on that level, but it's like, again, the people who are supposed to be getting the money apparently aren't getting the money. It seems like it's too easy. When a student receives financial aid, the money goes through the school first, and then what's left, if anything, is dispersed to the student's bank account or sent as a check. This may include grant funding from the state or federal government to cover tuition, student housing, or meal plans. Wouldn't it be better, maybe they get the money too soon, but then again, maybe you need the money. Is that the issue?
I think you probably need the money to pay the tuition.
That's the problem, yeah. Because it sounds like that's how the scammers are making out.
Yes.
They barely have to be, associated with the class. They get the money, and then they get the hell out of Dodge. By the way, Century College has a team of 4 department leaders from admissions, financial aid, records, and advising, working on basically trying to, locate the scammers. You know what they're called? The Ghostbusters.
Oh, I like that.
Trying to
Who are you
bust
gonna
the
call?
ghost students. So it's a new form of
Bill Murray,
Ghostbuster.
Dan Aykroyd.
Apparently taking place all over academia as they try to deal with this particular issue. I guess, again, it shouldn't be surprising, but I thought it was still rather interesting. In fact, they quote in the Strib piece that San Francisco Chronicle estimated in 2023 that nearly 20% of all community college applications over about a year in California, or 460,000 overall in all, were scammers.
That's crazy.
It may cost $20,000 to, here's the kicker too. It may cost $20,000 to $50,000 to find someone who took Minnesota State for just $3,000. So then you're back to,
exactly.
Well, how much
is it worth it?
How much time and expense can we actually make in these stories? Meanwhile, the scammers they go free. It reminds me, did you see there's been a rash of broken windows in cars in a couple of, there was one out in Bloomington.
Great Wolf Lodge.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And then there were was it South Minneapolis? No, what was the other location? There was one other spot in which we were talking about like hundreds of cars. And, the stories have all been written on it. Like, well, the cops say a lot of these cases don't end up getting solved. It's all a matter of priority. We don't like it. But this might be another example of all the effort that it takes from an investigative standpoint to get it done. It's not going to be worth anybody's while to do it, which is a very dissatisfying thing for a person who's gotten their car smashed in three times in a month. Because there's a violation of that goes beyond the theft. It's just what's the word for it? Theft. If they take stuff from the vehicle, that's just damage being done to property. What's the big deal?
Right.
When it happens to you, especially when it happens repeatedly, I got to believe you feel violated.
And you have to deal with it.
And you have to
get it fixed,
yes.
Whether it costs you anything or not, with insurance and stuff like that. It's a huge pain. And
the same, as I said, with these school situations where it's a very unsatisfactory answer to say, well, there's really not much we can do about it, as you acknowledge that upwards of 1 in 5 aren't even students. They're just scammers. Many of them not even living in the United States of America. I don't know if there are answers for any of these. You know what I mean? I'd like to think that there would be. But whether there are or not, I don't know. Bradshaw and Bryan text line is open at 64686 if you indeed would like to join us. Don't forget, we've got, as I mentioned, Lavelle coming up at 5:30. And he's Dateline Vegas. We think he'll be on time. He is confirmed to you. They should be on time, and I'm sure we'll talk.
I don't know what else he'd be doing, just hanging out in Vegas.
We'll talk about some other things as well. Dear Dan, this is from Mike in Bismarck. Dear Dan Polad, as a loyal, longtime bumper-to-bumper listener, I implore you and fan management to open up your pocketbooks and pay Mace whatever he is asking to ensure that we get another year of his brilliant and insightful commentary. That's Mike from Bismarck. Are you nuts? I hope nobody tells Mace about that, because that's all he needs, right? I mean, I should say he doesn't need.
Yeah, I was going to say he's already at a certain level that I don't even think this kind of adulation.
I told you the last text I got from him was he wants to. He says he's under siege from the public, demanding that that I help him write his book.
That's right.
He says he can't get enough of it. I still don't. I'm not. He's going to have to convince me that it'll sell. I'm not sure it will sell. Now, again, it would be a regional sell, obviously, but I'm not even sure.
I mean, are you looking for Christine Brennan or Vince Flynn-like numbers? I don't think you're going to get those.
No, that's unlikely. But because, again, that's a commitment of time that's going to be fairly dramatic, and I think we might kill each other. I mean, we've kind of, we've progressed over the years, but it doesn't sound like you're disagreeing all that.
No, I still think fact and fiction is the best idea for that book.
Yes.
Where you write your side of it and he says his side of it.
He ain't going to go along for that.
No.
He might be willing to give me a 2% voice in that regard.
Yeah.
It's going to be 98% Mace, his version of everything. You know that.
You've always circled around the idea of a book.
Yeah.
Because you're a writer. That makes sense. A lot of your friends have written books.
Yeah, they have. I'm the only one who hasn't.
Have you ever had an idea on your own that you thought, you know what? I do have something if I do commit myself to it.
Yeah, I do.
Do you have like a working, like...
I do.
Okay.
But it's fiction. It's not... Yeah, I do. I have one. I do have one. I have one that I haven't really developed enough, though, but I have. I do have an idea. Yeah.
I like it.
Well...
Tell him you got to write your book first.
I better get around to it fairly soon. You need like 3, this is Hendo in Minneapolis, you need like 3 different forms of ID just to get a real ID. I guess online college courses are going to have to resort to something like that. Yeah, I don't even know how, the stories all indicate ways that the schools are trying to deal with it with limited resources. But I don't know. I mean, you keep getting the sense that the crooks are always going to be one step ahead.
Yeah.
And this is just another way where they have tapped into the more modern technology, taken full advantage of it, and are walking away with thousands or tens of thousands of dollars individually, maybe more, depending on, the situation and the scholarship.
You do wonder how many, because you mentioned it was like 500,000 students.
Correct.
Right? So that's 500,000 people that have had their identity stolen in some form or fashion. I imagine it's a small syndicate of people that are grabbing all of those, because otherwise it's not worth it. It's not worth it to go through all the trouble to take $3,000 here, $4,000
no,
there.
You
would think it's got to be an
probably
in-bulk
true.
situation where some of these people have thousands of the same
correct
theft, essentially.
They may need to go old school and have you come over to the bursar's office in person to sign up and to receive any aid. I like it. Yeah, I remember the bursar.
Yeah.
Do you ever have to go to the bursar's office?
Is that what it's called? I remember having to go sign up in person.
It was called the bursar's office but I mean, schools like making the money off of online, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what the happy medium is there. The idea of, okay, you just have to show up and to apply for this sort of scholarship money. And we got to see ID and we got to see that you're real. Although I guess I got to believe that would discourage the scammers a little bit. I don't know. Maybe not enough. I'm not sure. Where else were we here? Seems like we could create bank accounts that are required to be opened in the U.S. that would put a barrier in place. It doesn't seem like that much work for people to have to go to a brick and mortar to open an account. Then schools or companies or whoever would choose only to do business with people that have this certified account. Dan, I have the answer. Let Mace walk and pick up Vern Gagne guy from yesterday. He's, of course, referring to Kenny Patera.
That'll cost us more money in fines than it would to pay Mace.
Back to yesterday, a callback to a training camp discussion. Mettler's still open in Mankato, according to this texter out of the 507.
I trust that.
No, this is 503. Where's 503?
I don't know.
Maybe does Mankato, became Mankato big enough that's got more than one area code now?
I don't think so. And I don't think it's 503.
Longest running locally owned business in Mankato.
Mettler's is?
That's what he claims.
Wow. 503 is Oregon.
Well, maybe he used to be in Mankato. Or maybe he's got inside information on Mankato. I'm not exactly sure. Out of nowhere, we've got some J.J. McCarthy questions coming in as well, which tells us once again, more than anything else, it's football season. Training camp has indeed begun. We chatted with Ben Gessling from training camp today. He made it sound like it was a pretty boring day, other than the unfortunate news that you'll get to regarding unfortunate is too strong a term. It appears to be a very minor injury, but you never like to hear about any injuries for your star players. Lavel to talk, I'm sure, some trade deadline stuff, because that deadline is next Thursday. We'll probably talk some football with him as well.
I think we could have had Gessling for like an hour. I got the sense from him that we did him a favor putting him on the phone so he could leave practice.
Just to leave practice. He seemed utterly...
There's nothing going on.
Was going
and
on.
those...
Well, the first pad day is tomorrow?
First pad day, I think, is Monday.
Monday, okay, that's
First main practice open to everybody is tomorrow.
That's tomorrow, that's it. Are we broadcasting live from there? Anybody broadcasting live?
I wonder if
usually
somebody
do it from
is there.
like scrimmage night, though.
Yes.
It's not necessarily every Saturday, but...
The night scrimmage. I'll have to pull up the schedule because we don't have... we always get the monthly schedule from Abbott that he says none of us ever read. Right. And he's about 50% true on that. I try to do my due diligence.
Yeah.
We do... that's not tomorrow. Yes, we have Sauce and Nordo at training
they're
camp
there
tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes, right after Tee to Green.
Texter guy is back. He says he's in Portland now. He was Mankato born and raised.
Love it.
Mettler's. That's the test of time. I wonder what year, I'll ask him. He might know what year Mettler's was established. Was it, I'm guessing not as old as that pub I went to outside Dublin, which went back to was it 800 AD? It was
Right.
A long time.
And no Blarney Stone at Mettler's.
No.
You also don't want to actually kiss things at Mettler's.
Another story.
Like you did with the Blarney Stone.
Yeah. I can't even imagine where Kenny Patera would take that conversation. Top 5 will include
an update from Blaine, 3M Open. The Twins back home. Does anybody care? And Justin Jefferson won't be at practice today. Won't be at practice tomorrow.